Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. In today's episode, I'm going to be giving you an update on the horses. Also, I'm going to be chatting about how I rode a robot horse, as well as not one, but two disastrous stories at the gym, and how I did a sport that I think might be more dangerous than horse riding. But anyway, before we begin, just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, and they also ship all over the world. And now is the time. Everything's getting a little bit drier, a little bit sunnier. Spring is here, and do you know what that means? Spring cleaning. All of my horses right now look like absolute hippopotamuses. I need to give them like a good spring bath. Do you know what spring bath needs? Grooming brushes, sponges, soap, horse shampoo. And do you know where you can get that all? Red Post Equestrian, especially shedding blades. Like if your horse sheds, oh my gosh, Casper, he's got this one patch where he's not clipped that is so hairy. So He needs a lot of cleaning, needs a lot of grooming. Also, I'm probably going to clip him next week as well, because he's one of those horses I like to clip all year round because he is just a little fluff monster. But anyway, thank you to Red Post for sponsoring. Go and check them out at redpostequestrian.co.uk. Anyway, let's get into today's episode. Thought I'd give you an update on the horses first because you guys have been asking for that. Also, can I just say, big moment. It is officially spring because I took Casper for not a walk, not a trot, not a canter, but a gallop across our local bridle path. And that is how you know that spring is here, because the ground is finally dry. Oh my goodness, it was so much fun. He was very excited. It's so funny because he's a little bit unfit at the moment because both of my horses have had like a little bit of more of a chill time over the winter. He was like excited for the first, 10 minutes. He did a little jig jog. He was very excited, had a canter, and then by the end of the hack, he was just like on the buckle, loose reins, stretching out like, oh, I'm a bit tired now. That was quite exciting. So anyway, he was such a good boy. It was also quite funny because we haven't been across that local bridle path in, I want to say last time was probably November. I want to say that was when it started to get a little bit muddier. So he hasn't seen sheep for a long time. And there's sheep across our local bridle path. Also, you know it's spring because the lambs are coming out. Oh my goodness, my favourite thing is seeing all the little lammies, how cute they are, like jumping about. So yeah, Casper was a little bit confused at first. He was like, oh my gosh, there are sheep. Also this time of year, when you are hacking across bridle paths and there are sheep, I'm always like a little bit extra cautious. I always make sure like somebody comes with me. So my dad normally comes along on his bike because the sheep, they don't see many people go across these footpaths or bridle paths because most people don't want to go across the mud. Fair enough. We haven't done that. But the people that they normally see are the farmers who like to feed the sheep. So when we came walking on over, all these sheep came towards us and were like, hello, do you have food for me? And Casper was like, dude, personal space, back off. You're in my personal bubble. So my dad kind of cycled along with us as our shield. He was the barrier between Casper and the sheep when they got a little bit too friendly. But yes, no, he's been very well. Duke has been, oh my gosh, I saw Duke lie down the other day in his paddock, which is very cute. Duke's not normally a lying down kind of guy. You also know that the weather's getting better because he goes in his field shelter, which sounds very weird, but Duke loves the rain. So when the sun comes out, that's when he goes in his field shelter. So whenever I see him in there, I'm like, yes, warm weather is on the way. That is how you know. And Joey, he's just been vibing really. He also has a little sleeping spot every day. He likes to sleep in his pile of haylage. I think he like eats his breakfast in the morning and is like, you know what, I'm gonna lie down and have a big digestion time. So no, Horses are all very happy. Next, I thought I'd talk about riding a mechanical horse. Now, I've ridden a mechanical horse once before, back at Aachen last summer. This one, I think it was actually the same sort of thing, but I actually got like my riding tested on this mechanical horse. So I had a riding lesson on it. So we were really working on my position, making sure that I'm riding correctly. There we go. Anyway, so I was riding along. It took a little while to get used to. I'd say the things that on this like kind of robot mechanical horse that I found the most difficult to start off with were the downwards transitions, because it was actually very sensitive. So it was really interesting figuring out how, when I was riding on this horse, using my seat rather than my hands to kind of like go down a transition, which was really interesting. But the thing that I actually figured out is I have been riding wonky, apparently. So obviously when I first got on, had a bit of a lesson, had a little, chat about how I was riding, things that I could do better. But then I was tested on it. Now you might think, Esme, how do you get tested on a mechanical horse? So normally when you first get on, you ride, there's these big screens around you that says if you have too much pressure in your left rein or your right rein, or maybe you're sitting a little bit to your left or your right, because on this saddle that you're sitting on, there's all these sensors that can tell you basically if you're doing a bad job or not. To be fair, I got a few compliments on my position. She was like, actually, my hands actually were very good. My rein contact was very even. So proud of that. But when we did the test, the whole screen goes dark or goes black, so you can't see if you're doing well or not. It's all just down to what feels good for you, and you have to try your best. So anyway, after doing a walk, trot and canter on both reins on this mechanical horse, the results came in, and I found out that she was like, you look straight, but according to this data, you're wonky. And I was like, how's that anyway? I've always known that my left leg / my left hip, that kind of area, I've always been weaker. And it kind of also works because my right arm is also weaker as well. So that's kind of like, everyone has a weaker side. Nobody's perfect. A bit like, humans are left-handed or right-handed. Horses are the same. Also, humans are the same when it comes to like riding as well. I remember when I did gymnastics, you were either like left-legged or right-legged, which is quite interesting. But anyway, back to the mechanical horse. So I found out that I basically have been a little bit twisted. So even though my legs and everything, my hips, everything, from the outside, it looks like I'm riding nice and straight, when actually I have been twisted basically to the right the whole time. So for the rest of the lesson, we were working on that, making sure that it felt like I was twisted to the left the whole time, because obviously I was so used to being wonky. So that was really, really interesting. So this is my little thing. If you do get the opportunity to have a lesson on a mechanical horse, go and do it, because when you're riding a normal horse and you're that far away, like obviously you're not going to be running over your riding instructor when you're riding, but when you're on a mechanical horse, you can be cantering and your instructor can be standing right there next to you, be like, oh, actually your leg needs to go like a few centimeters this way or a few inches that way. So no, it was really fascinating. So maybe in like a few months' time, I can work on trying to be a little bit straighter, can go and do that test again and see if I've got any better. Hopefully I will have got better. So I'm actually thinking that would be a really fun video to film as like a video on my YouTube channel. So let me know if you'd be interested in that, because I found it so fascinating. And also we did some like jumping afterwards. It's really cool because the horse feels very realistic. Sometimes it like moves its head or swings its head about and that kind of thing, just like a real horse. Doesn't buck though. So also a top tip, if you feel like you've lost your confidence riding, go and ride a mechanical horse, because you don't have to worry about falling off. You don't have to worry about, the horse, being a bit excited or that kind of thing. It is just like riding like a default, super chilled horse. And you can just focus on your position, focus on yourself. You don't have to focus on making the horse look pretty. You can just focus on yourself looking pretty. So that was, really, really good fun. Okay, next, I thought I would tell you this story. Now, I do feel a little bit silly telling it, but I had a major disaster at the gym the other day. I feel like a lot of my funny or like embarrassing stories have been at the gym, but you know what? I don't go out very often, and that's the only place where I go out in public. And it's always when I go out in public that I make a fool of myself. But anyway, I was at the gym the other day and I've kind of got into my, my gym routine. I don't know if anybody else has this, but I have like my emotional support locker. Like when I go to the lockers, I always go to like the same sort of corner or the same 3 ones. Obviously, sometimes it's somebody is in my locker. I know it's not my personal locker, but like that is my go-to one. So I normally go to the one next to it. I also have the same thing. I don't know if anybody else is like this. When I go to like a public toilet or the showers at my gym, like there is this one shower and that is the same one I go in every time. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but anyway, I'm super quick with the lockers now. Like when I first started going, like trying to figure out, do I press like the key symbol and then put my code in and then the lock symbol? Like it's like automatic. My brain doesn't even have to think when I do it. I go boop, 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 put in my normal code, boop, 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 locked, go and do my gym stuff. Anyway, I've got like a little routine. I quite like to do an hour or 45 minutes in the gym. And then I like to go for a swim afterwards. I always find when I swim afterwards, like my recovery is a lot better. I'm a lot less stiff. It's kind of like a nice bit of physio at the end. I love going in the sauna. I don't know what it is, but the sauna, that is my happy place. I like pretend I'm on holiday in a nice hot country. Anyway, so I had just been swimming, just been in the sauna, just had my shower. And I went over to the locker that I thought was my locker. A little spoiler there. I went to my locker, opened it up. In that locker was my trousers and my hoodie. And I kind of like half a second went by where my brain went, oh my gosh, my bag's not there. And then I thought, oh my gosh, my bag has been stolen. And then my brain was going, I had a lot of things going through my mind. First thing was bag has been stolen. Second thing was at least they left me my clothes. Like if you're going to steal, from the gym, like also this is a nice gym. So my brain was like, I was not expecting to be robbed at this very nice gym. And also I thought, well, at least, they've left me my clothes. They left me my clothes. And I thought, but they took my shoes. So I'm going to have to walk barefoot. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to ring my mum and dad on my phone because my car keys are in my bag and I'm not going to be able to drive home. So they're going to have to come and bring me my spare car keys. And then I thought, my phone was in my bag, so I can't even ring my parents. And I was like racking my brain because I thought, oh my gosh, I don't actually know anybody's number off by heart. I only know our home phone number off by heart, which my family never answer because it's either a scam caller or my grandma. So, and that sounds really mean. My grandma does live next door, so it's not like she has to walk far, or she also has our mobile numbers because we just know to not answer the home phone because it's always a scammer. But we have it just in case because we get a lot of power cuts or lose Wi-Fi a lot where we are living in the countryside, living in the middle of nowhere. So it is useful to have a home phone, even though that does feel like such a old thing to have. Like nobody has a home phone nowadays. Anyway, so I was thinking I'm going to have to walk out to reception. Luckily had my joggers and my hoodie. As I said before, I'm not really a jogger sort of person, but if I'm going to the gym, if I'm traveling to and from the gym, nobody sees me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just sitting in my car. It is so comfy putting joggers on after you've been swimming rather than putting on jeans or leggings. Anyway, so I thought I'm gonna have to go like disheveled out into the reception and be like, hey, can I use your phone to ring my mum? Like, it'd be so embarrassing. And then I thought, wait a second, let's just take it back a sec.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from McDonald's, Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a hamburger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Uh-oh. The last cookie.
You can get a new box of cookies in as fast as an hour with Walmart Express Delivery.
Are you my guilty self-conscience?
No, I'm the voice offering you promo code EXPRESS for free delivery on your first order.
Hey, who ate my cookies?
You mean, these cookies?
Order now. Welcome to your Walmart. Promotion valid for first express delivery order. $50 minimum subject to availability. Restrictions apply.
What about the locker next door? What if I've done a silly? So anyway, beep, beep, beep. type my code in, unlocks. That locker has my shoes, it has my bag, it has my headphones. And I was like, oh my goodness, I am so silly. I'm so stupid. Like, my heart was, when your like heart sinks and like my heart was palpitating. It was like, oh my gosh, I've lost my phone. I think my phone was probably the thing I was most upset by, even though at first I didn't even realize I'd lost my phone. Because I'm just so used to having it on my person all the time. But obviously when you're swimming, you're not going to have your phone with you. So yeah, also one of the other reasons why I thought, oh my gosh, I've been robbed, is because I obviously forgot to lock the locker that had my hoodie and my jogging bottoms in. So I thought they'd broken into it because obviously it was unlocked when I remember locking it, but it was obviously the locker next door. So anyway, this is maybe it was, to be fair, it was in the evening. I had a long day. It was like a later night. That's what I'm going to blame it on. I always say my brain doesn't work after 8 p.m. I'm definitely a morning person. Like when it comes to work, or back in the day when I was doing my exams at school, I was like, past 8 o'clock, my brain just does not work. It's better for me to have a rest in an early night and get up early and do my work in the morning. So anyway, that is your note, that be careful when you use your lockers. There's probably nobody else that's ever done this before. I don't know how I did it. I was just like, yeah, that's my normal locker, boop boop boop, put it in. Didn't think about my clothes in the locker next door, because I do get changed quite near that locker as well. Anyway, my other sort of gym fail, or not, I don't know if it's a fail, disaster, because I've become a regular at this gym now, I've realised that actually there's quite a few different people that I know that go to this gym that I go to, which is always like an awkward situation when there's somebody that you're not necessarily friends with, you're more like acquaintances with. So there's a few people that I went to school with that go to my gym, which like there's been like girls that I've seen, I've like smiled and said hi or like that kind of thing, like, but it basically my high school bully or secondary school bully goes to my gym, and I was like, oh, this is kind of awkward. Especially when I was doing some reps, locked eyes, and I was like, oh, head down, just carry on doing your reps, just carry on doing your reps. Anyway, it was that weird sort of thing where it's like, do you say something? Do you not? Do you talk? Do you just... So I'm just going to put my head down, carry on. And it wasn't until I was sitting in the sauna where I got trapped. Guys. I got trapped. And this, to be fair, I've got to the stage now where in the sauna, people are starting to recognise me, and I'm starting to recognise people that are the regulars, and they start having a bit of a chat with me, that kind of thing. And anyway, it's an awkward thing where in the sauna, you never know when you walk in if somebody's going to be chatty or not. Sometimes people just like to be there with their eyes closed, meditate. I don't know. And sometimes people are super chatty and they want to chat to you and that kind of thing. Anyway, this guy started to chat to me, and who was also in there with that guy? My high school bully. And anyway, after I went in my little cold shower, I love a little cold shower after the sauna. As I was in my cold shower, high school bully comes out and was like, oh my gosh, you Esme, we went to school together. Like, I didn't recognise you at first. And I was like, oh yeah, it's been a while. And then I was like, number one, stuck in this like cold shower, because I was like, I want to look like, I'm a gym girl. I can handle this cold shower. So I was like, I'm going to have to wait till this cold shower turns off to run away and go into the changing rooms. So anyway, that was my awkward encounter. So there we go. This is I was definitely not one of the popular girls at school. I look very different to how I did in secondary school. I definitely I've had not one, but probably 2 glow-ups since I was at secondary school. So I was like, to be fair, I was actually quite shocked that he did recognise me. But anyway, there we go. That's my awkward gym encounter. I will keep on updated on any more awkward situations. But anyway, I've been enjoying the gym, It's been my little happy place that I go to. But next up, I thought I would talk to you about, in the beginning of this podcast, I titled it as a sport more dangerous than horse riding. Now, on this particular day, it was, because I have got a bike now because, nice and sunny, weather's better, want to start cycling to, work and back. Lovely jubbly. So I've got myself a bike, because before I would borrow my mum's or my dad's that was a bit too big for me. So I have now got my own bike, and my dad and I were like, let's take this bike for a little bit of a test run, a little bit of a zoom around the village. I was like, perfect, nice sunny day, let's do it. Now, for some backstory here, my dad used to work in the motorsport industry, and all the mechanical, technical stuff he's very good at. He failed me today on this particular day. So when a bike comes in a box, because we ordered it online, came in the post, brilliant. When it came out, so obviously it fits in a box, like slightly flat box. The handlebars aren't kind of horizontal. Well, they are horizontal. They don't go wide widths. They kind of go long ways. So the bike's like skinnier, so it fits in the box. So anyway, my dad comes along, is like, oh, I'll put them the right way for you, so the handlebars are in the right place. Does up a little screw. There is a second screw and a third screw that my dad does not do up. But at this point, we don't know about this. So anyway, give it a little test run up and down the drive. Feels good. Perfect. Let's go for a little bike ride around the village. So anyway, we're going along. And obviously, I am a horse rider. I'm used to, number one, being a little bit higher up. And number two, not going that fast on the roads. Because in the UK, I'm pretty sure it's UK law that you can walk and trot a horse on the road, but you can't canter them. So I'm not used to, on a solid ground, I'm not used to going super, super fast. I'm used to going super fast up on the hills, but that's grass. That feels a little bit of a softer landing, Or on the beach, or the sand school. A bit of a softer landing, but hard concrete on a UK road, that seems a little bit scarier. So anyway, my dad's like, I'll go ahead, I'll be the pathfinder, you just follow me. Perfect. Going along. We end up going down this hill. Now, my dad, he's a big cycler. He loves going fast. He's ridden motorbikes before, so this is nothing. We're going down this hill. Now, he is pelting it full blast. He is showing off. He's like, I might be in my 50s. You can't catch up with me. I am Speedy Gonzalez. So he is zooming down this hill. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to keep up. Now, I came to the realization that number one, I was going very fast. I think my watch actually said that my top speed was something like 33 kilometers per hour, which, in a car doesn't sound that fast. But when you're that close to the ground and you've literally just got handlebars and a wheel. And I've got some bike trauma as well, because if you listen to my podcast episode last summer where I went on a holiday in Oxford with Batman, my boyfriend, and my bike wheel fell off. I've not got much trust in bikes at the moment. And you know what? At that moment when I was cycling along, I thought my back wheel could just pop off. And I was a little bit scared. I was a little bit nervous. I was like, Esme, I have, done zip wiring over canyons. I've, ridden horses in Botswana with lions. And, I'm a pretty fearless kind of person. But going down this hill at top speed on a bike, I was like, oh, I could go over the handlebars any moment. I was freaking out a little bit. And you know what? I was correct for freaking out, because when it came to going up the hill, I thought, okay, we've gone down the hill. I'm going to use that speedy momentum to push myself up the hill so I don't have to pedal as hard. So anyway, I'm zooming along going up the hill now, trying to catch up with my dad. And when you're going up a hill, sometimes to go a little bit faster, you I was going to say go into a half seat, but that's what you do with horses, isn't it? When you go in like your half seat or your jumping position where you kind of stand up tall. I did that on the bike where you kind of stand up and you do the pedals and you go 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm trying my best to explain this, but I probably just sound ridiculous. Anyway, as I was doing that, obviously I was putting a lot of pressure on with my legs. I was really pushing to get up this hill. I was also putting pressure on the handlebars. And what happened? My handlebars slipped. So my right handlebar was basically up in the air and my left one was down. And I thought, oh my goodness. So it meant that my tyre was not straight. It suddenly went wonky. So I almost, number one, fell off this bike. And number two was like, oh my gosh, the bike is broken and it's brand new. So anyway, my handlebars were not screwed in properly. So I'm like, Dad, stop, I've almost fallen off. And he's like up the hill like, what is going on? Who have I taken out with me? This amateur behind me here. Now I'm a sporty girl, so I was like, he was like, okay, something must have gone wrong. Turns around, going a little lay-by. Luckily, there's a farm nearby, so we just go in the lay-by because our country roads are very narrow. So we didn't want to be just, standing in the middle of a road in case a car came. So anyway, Dad looks at it and he's like, oh, I should have brought my little repair kit with me. So this is a little note for, number one, the time in Oxford, and number two, the time now. Always bring something with you to repair your bike, because you never know when you're going to get caught out. And we were only like a few kilometres away from home, so we weren't far. So that meant, because my dad didn't have the right tools with him, he was like, oh, you're just going to have to hold on. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm just going to have to hold on? He's like, yeah. Like, he was like, you can ride my bike, but that's a bit too big for you, and you're probably going to be more uncomfortable on that. So I was like, okay. So I came to the realisation that I had to ride this bike home that was broken. So basically it was like riding a bike that I could not steer, because obviously as I'd been like, riding and, pushing and that kind of thing, it had loosened up even more. So I was like, brilliant, I'm basically riding a bike that I can't steer, and we live on quite a wiggly route. So I had to, it was a good test for my balance, I tell you that. So I was cycling along, and I just had to like kind of lean to the left or kind of lean to the right when I wanted to turn, which was freaky, because obviously I could, if I turned with my handlebars, whoop, my bike could be over, I'd be on the floor. And anyway, so that is my note to you all. If you are going cycling, bring repair kits with you, because you never know. Anyway, the bike has now been fully tightened up, all is well, all is good, but I think it's going to take me a little while to get over my cycling trauma now, because that did freak me out quite a bit. But I tell you what, it is good fun, and it's better on your joints than running. As you guys know, I've been loving a good run lately, but cycling is a bit better, I'd say, but it is good fun. It's good fun. Next up for my little weekly update, I need to tell you about my trip to London yesterday. Now, as you guys know, I do end up actually in London quite a lot for work, for different business meetings, occasions, that kind of thing. I know it's Esme's country life, but I feel like this was very country girl in the city kind of story for you all. So, I was going up to London for a meeting with the RSPCA, who is like one of the biggest animal charities in the UK. So I was very, very honoured to be invited and to be working with them. So anyway, went up to London on my own. Normally these sort of things, my dad sometimes gets invited, or sometimes he like comes along with me because he's like my business partner. Although he wouldn't say that, he's like, Esme, you are the boss. Anyway, so I felt like every now and again it's quite fun for me, getting dressed up in my corporate wear, going on the train with all the commuters, feel like a girl boss, that kind of thing. Especially like traveling on the train on my own. Like, I just feel so grown up, even though I am 23 and have moved out, but I just feel like grown up, going on my own. I feel like a big girl. Anyway, so went to London. When I'm in London, I'm on a mission. I am like all the other commuters. I am speed walking everywhere. Like, I am a speed walker. And also just like little things, like I'm just a little bit more cautious. Like, always make sure that my phone is in like a front pocket, or like secure, or like I'm holding onto it, like, I don't know. I've just heard lots of stories, people having their phone stolen in London, or like their bag stolen, that kind of thing. So I am in full defense mode. I'm like, okay, I'm holding on to all of my belongings super tight, especially in the busy areas, especially on the tube. I'm zooming about and speed walking. So anyway, I got there early. As you guys know, I am an early person. I would much rather get somewhere 15 minutes early, sit in my car and like answer some emails, or, do some stuff on my phone, than get somewhere 5 minutes late. Like, if I'm like a minute late, stresses me out. So I got a nice early train, had a few minutes spare. So because where I was going was really near Oxford Street, it was in Central. So I thought, you know what? I'll have a little walk around the shops, little shop time. Oxford Street, I don't know what it was, maybe it was the time of day that I was there, but Oxford Street was popping off. It was busy. There's the people on the megaphones shouting, there's all the tourists stopping in the middle of the road to take photos, that kind of thing. Like, it was busy. And as I was walking along, you guys know me, speed walking, I was overtaking these people that were walking a little bit slower. So at this point, I had been in London, or central London, Oxford Street, for about 5 minutes. I was in London for 5 minutes, and I got spat on. Now, like, my dad's looking at me like, you didn't tell me this. So basically this guy, he spat, which is, I think, the most disgusting thing. I'm sorry, but even if you have phlegm, at least, like, you know, if you're poorly or whatever, do it into a tissue. Do not spit in the road. Anyway, he spat on the pavement, and as I was overtaking him, doing my little speed walk, the spit went flying through the air, landed on my trouser leg. And I had a little mini freak out because I was like, I don't want to wipe it off because then the spit's on my hand. And I feel like that's even more gross. So anyway, I had this spit on my trousers and it was disgusting. But luckily it dried and it was okay. Those trousers have gone in the wash since. But this is not a good advertisement for London. It was just one person. I feel like any city where it's busy and you're in like the busy area at like rush hour, you're gonna bump into some gross people. Like, that's just life, you know. But anyway, that was my little story of the trip. I got spat on, which wasn't very nice. Anyway, did a little bit of shopping. That was nice. Didn't actually buy anything. I don't know. I'm in like I love walking around shops. Like, take me anywhere. Love a little walk around the shop. It could be something that I'm not even interested in. Just like looking at all the things. I don't know. It's like a little change of scenery for me because I'm used to, you know, woodland and trees and beaches. So walking around a city, I just find there's so many people to watch. I love a good people watch as well. So anyway, then it was time to arrive at the RSPCA shindig. I don't really know what to call it. It was kind of like a meeting. So it was a day to celebrate women in the RSPCA. So we had an afternoon tea. We also did a lot of networking. So I'm actually going to be filming a series of videos with them starting next month, which I cannot wait for. Actually, it won't be next month when this podcast episode goes out because I'm filming it a week in advance. So anyway, starting in April, I'm filming some videos. One of the first places that I'm going to is one of their wildlife centres, where there's going to be baby hedgehogs, there's going to be hopefully seals, so lots of kind of UK wildlife and talking about the wildlife centre. So very excited for that. Obviously I'll have more to talk about with that and I'll know more about it once I've been there and chatted to lots of people. And also we're going to be going to some of their rehoming centres, so there's going to be cats, there's going to be dogs. I'm not going to say too much, but I think that's going to be a very, very good trip. Also going to be going to one of their reptile centres as well, which is very cool. So anyway, because I know so many of you guys that watch my channel or listen to my podcast, I know that you also love animals. So I think this is going to be a really fun series on my channel. So look out for that. There's also going to be some really interesting stories about the animals that they're working with. And I feel like these sort of stories are always really fascinating and heartwarming and sad, and I don't know, I just think it's going to be, I'm just excited for future content coming your guys' way. But also everyone there was so lovely, such inspirational women that have done so much for this charity. It was really lovely chatting to them all. And the afternoon tea, oh my goodness, it was so good. There was this one like cake, and this lady described it as cuckoo spit. And at first I thought, because everyone else like knew what cuckoo spit was, and I was like, at first I thought, this must be some sort of RSPCA joke that I'm just like not in with. And then I thought, oh my gosh, are they talking, you know, like cuckoo birds? And they talking about, you know, when they feed their babies? Well, anyway, I found something new. A cuckoo spit apparently is, you know, in the summer there's grass. I don't know if this is something in other countries or just the UK, and you see this stuff that literally looks like spit on the grass. That's what it is, and it's not to do with the cuckoo birds. It's actually a type of insect, and it kind of protects them and their babies, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, there's a little fun little informational factual. That is what cuckoo spit is. So anyway, it was one of those kind of like fancy restaurants, and the texture was foamy. It was very good though. It was yuzu flavoured, which I think I've got to say, I think yuzu might be my favourite fruit. My dad's like, what on earth is yuzu? He doesn't know what that is. I know what yuzu is because one of my friends, Lucy, is a pastry chef and she uses it in some of the chocolates that she makes. Yuzu I would describe as a cross between if an orange and a lime had a baby. That's what it is. It's like it just tastes very citrusy, but not in like a lemony way. It is. It's really refreshing. And anyway, that was probably my favourite one, the one that was kind of foamy, but it was very good. So anyway, that is my stories of the week. What I've been up to. I feel like it's been very eventful. There's been lots of different things. I really hope you enjoyed today's podcast episode. Also, please subscribe, especially if you're on Spotify. come and join the party, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, whatever podcast platform you're on. Give us a follow, a thumbs up. They're all different, so I'm saying all the different things. Also, we were in the UK charts again. Whoop whoop for Esme's Country Life. The episode where I talked about working with movie stars or having a driving lesson with Darth Vader. That one has done very well. So thank you for all the love and support. If you haven't checked out that podcast episode, go and give it a listen. Give my others a listen. Listen to all of them. Anyway, on that note, I just want to say a huge thank you to Red Post for sponsoring the podcast. Thank you to the team. And I will see you all next time for, I'm sure, some more interesting and wacky stories. See ya!